Welcome back. It is the Flow Friday Sports Show here on Flow FM, and it's time to talk some tennis again, this time in regional South Australia. And Egan Regnier, the Robe Roosters captain and our correspondent from the Southern Ports Tennis Association, now joins me on the line. Egan, great to have you back again. How are you?
I'm going good, thank you, Alice. How are you going?
Not too bad, thank you. And, I hate to say it, Egan, but I can just about identify that downbeat nature in your voice, because it is to not be a case of making finals for the Robe Roosters. So you're looking ahead to 2024, I suspect, Egan.
Not our year, I guess, not our season, but we'll move on, and can't always be good, but hopefully next season's a bit different than the one we had this year.
Well, Kingston did the damage over you guys on the weekend, so just give us the rundown on how this game went. You obviously have the best perspective on it, given that you played in the game.
Kingston were a bit too strong. They had a good win, 16-8. They were a bit too good in the top order in both the men and the females, and they had to win to try and get a top two spot, which they knew at the start of Saturday morning, and they put in a pretty good side on the court, and we just couldn't really match them, and even our bottom women held up really well for the day, but obviously that wasn't good enough for us, and we went down in our last game of the season.
Narracourt played Francis, and Francis won, which just adds to your prediction of Francis probably being the best team who will go on and win the grand final this weekend. So they couldn't go into it with any better form, Egan, I suppose?
Yeah, this was the match of the round for sure. It was first, second, and everyone probably would have been real keen to see what the result was, but Francis had a really good win, 16-8 as well, and probably put themselves as favourite to win the comp this year. They started well. Their doubles were strong all day. They won 10 out of 12 doubles, which puts a lot of pressure on Narracourt to win a lot of singles back. But they obviously couldn't do that. Split the singles though, but that's not enough to get the win. So Francis had a great win, and I'm sure they'll be looking for them doubles to produce well for them again this weekend.
Lucendale Koalas too good for Penola, as virtually everyone would have suspected. I want to ask you, Egan, once you tell us how this game went, with Penola next year, I mean, how do they strengthen? How do they get better? Because we know that with regional sports, pretty hard, especially when you're not paying your players substantial amounts of money, or any money in some cases. So how does this Penola side get better next year?
That's a great question. They only joined our comp this year. They had their own little league just in the town of Penola for a couple of years, and that sort of folded. They won't get enough numbers out to that. So they joined our competition this year, and maybe they didn't think our competition was as strong as what it is. So maybe it's a good indication that our association's gone really well. But they had a lot of players that played them during the year. So I don't know. They try and get a bit more commitment out there to top better players, or I don't know. They maybe try and lure some people from Mount Gambier. I don't really know, but I guess now they know what our competition is like. They might set themselves up next year a bit better and be a bit stronger.
I take it the Koalas were just way too good on the day as well, Egan.
Yeah, so they were the same as Kingston. Kingston and the Koalas had a chance to finish second after they saw Narracourt lost to Francis on Friday night. So the Koalas and Kingston were very tight in percentage. So pretty much whoever won the more set on Saturday finished second. And Koalas, knowing they had to play Penola, they thought that it was a really good chance to try and get as many sets as they could, and they did exactly that. They won every single set, 24 sets to love, and obviously left nothing for Kingston to try and get that spot. So Koalas made themselves into the Div 1 Grand Final, which they'll be very happy about.
All right, we'll move along and talk about the Robe Rebels. They played the Lucendale Wombats, who won on the day. And once you tell us how this one went, Egan, I guess I've got to ask the follow-up question, which is inevitably, what happens with the Robe tennis community now? Who do they get behind? Because we know that the second favourite team of every Robe tennis fan is whichever team's playing the Robe side that they don't support out of the Roosters and Rebels.
Yeah, it's a good question. The Rebels had a good win over the Wombats. They won 13-11. The Rebels actually have had a pretty good last month. I think they've won 3 of the last 4. So yeah, they've finished the season on a fairly good note. But yeah, the Rebels, they travelled down to Lucerne on the weekend, and their boys didn't do the damage. It was the women that did the damage for the Rebels. They won I think 4 singles for the women, and they won all their ladies doubles at the end of the day, which the ladies did what they had to do, and apparently it was a very handy bottom doubles sport from the boys of the Rebels that won a tiebreaker that got them that 13th set to just get them over the line. So yeah, the Rebels finished on the high. They didn't make finals either. So both us Robe teams will go back to the drawing board over winter, and hopefully put 2 bit more stronger sides out there next year to compete in the top 4.
Well, one team that won't be going back to the drawing board anytime soon is Beachport. They've been strong all season, and that form continued on the weekend. They got over the Lucendale Cockatoos. So how did this one play out?
Yeah, Beachport had a good win over the Cockatoos, 14 sets to 10. And with that win, they secured the last spot in the finals. So yeah, this was a close one. Beachport obviously would have liked a bit of an easier win, but they did what they had to do. They split all the doubles, which makes it very tight. And then it comes down to singles, and Beachport just scraped 2 more singles over the line than what the Cockatoos did. So Cockatoos put out a good side, and so did Beachport, and Beachport just produced just few more sets to get the job and get the win.
Well, it brings us into finals now, and the grand final for that matter this weekend. Egan, it's all pretty cutthroat stuff. Tell us where it's being held, and will you be going down?
So the grand final is getting held at the Lucerne Country Club on their 12 grass courts. It's a great spot to watch tennis. If you're around the place from 12 o'clock, 12:30 onwards, make sure you get down there and watch it. There's going to be some great games, and stand up on the hill and close to the bar, and it's a really good view to very good spot to watch good tennis. And so I'll be trying to get up there, and I'll be probably close to the bar, having a few beers, watching everyone else go at it. So it'd be very exciting.
Well, you can't support whoever's playing the Robe Rebels, Egan. So who are you getting behind?
Well, the Rebels didn't make it, so that's a good sign. But so in our league, the top 6 make the finals, and they get put in 3 divisions. So Div 3 we'll start with, which is 5th versus 6th, is the Lucerne Wombats versus Beachport. I'm going to tip the Wombats to just go over the line. This would be a very tricky game to tip on, but I think the Wombats playing at home will just go over the line by the smallest of margins. In the Div 2, we've got Narracourt versus Kingston. This will be a great game too. Really good sides through the whole year. They had some really big wins during the year, and again, it's such a hard one to tip. I think Kingston with a full side would just be too good over Narracourt. And the Div 1, the main event, is Francis versus Koalas. So the Koalas and Francis played twice this season, and the Koalas have actually won both them games. So who knows? I did tip Francis to win the whole thing last week, and they probably deserve to be favourites. But I think I'm going to go for the Koalas. There hasn't been a Lucerne side in the Div 1 final for a long time, so I really hope it's a really close game, and I think Francis might win, but I'm going to go for the Koalas.
There we have it. Egan Regnier, our Southern Ports Tennis Association correspondent. All the best with the action on the weekend. Enjoy watching, and we'll speak to you next week. Have a good one.
No worries. Thank you for having me, Ellis.